Hello, everyone, and welcome to my review of The Life of Chuck, which is coming out wide next week, and it's the latest from writer-director Mike Flanagan. His 11th film and his first since 2019's Doctor Sleep, which coincidentally is also a Stephen King adaptation, just like this one. A quick synopsis reads The Life of Chuck follows a life-affirming, genre-bending story based on Stephen King's novella about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz. I have to say, I was really dumbfounded when I learned that Flanagan was going to be making this his next movie, only because it's way different from his usual movies and shows, as they all primarily are in the horror genre. So him stepping out of his comfort zone was worrisome to me. I have to say, I was very worried to see how it was going to turn out. I'm only used to, scary Flanagan, all his great horror movies, all his great horror shows. But damn, I can admit when I'm wrong because he has made yet another great movie in my eyes, and I feel like this one will stick with me for some time compared to his other ones. I mean, his horror movies, horror shows, especially Midnight Mass, stick with me for a long time, but this one just feels so human, so, so great, so beautiful, so emotional. And I just got home from seeing it about 30 to 40 minutes ago, but I'm still trying to, think about everything that I saw, deconstruct everything that I watched. But I do think that this one is a must watch for a lot of people, even if you are not Stephen King fan, a Mike Flanagan fan. I feel like there's so much to really love about this movie, so much to explore, not only with its themes, but with its performances, what it's trying to say about love, loss, grief, all that, man. This was just a great time for me. Without giving too much away, The Life of Chuck is told in 3 parts, and something that I wasn't expecting was that it starts with part 3 and it goes backwards, with its ending being part 1. And the funny thing about this is that I think it could have worked either way. It could have gone part 1 to part 3, or could have stayed as I saw it in part 3 to part 1. Not sure if the short story is the same because I haven't read the novella, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I might have understood it just a little bit more if I did read the novella, because it starts in a little bit of a confusing way. Part 3, you're never understanding what's really going on in this third part. But I will tell you, just stick with it, as it really does reward your patience with a beautiful story about a man named Charles Krantz, or better known as Chuck. And I will say, this character is such an interesting character and kind of like an everyday man, I would say, in the world. And you're watching part 3, and I will say a little bit of detail about part 3 is that the world is kind of ending. It's like an apocalypse world where like the internet doesn't work anymore, the power is going out and everything. And you really think that you're watching, a different movie. You're like, is this really the life of Chuck? And it is. I was worried. I'm like, am I in the right theater? But no, this is the life of Chuck. And that third part will have such a bigger meaning by the end of the movie at the end of part 1. I personally found a lot to really latch onto here, and I know movies can work differently for other people, and I feel like this one fits under that umbrella in a really big way, as it discusses a lot of themes, as I said earlier, about love, loss, and the overall human experience. And I feel like, different people can watch this movie and really find things to pick out that they really loved. Like, personally, for me, this movie, what I loved is that it kind of teaches you to cherish the smaller moments in life, and that part connected to me on such an extreme level because as I experience life, in this real world as becoming an adult, I like to, cherish those smaller moments. And I guess, watching a movie in a cinema is a smaller moment. Hanging out with friends is a smaller moment. Those smaller connections between people, just saying hi on the road, it's a smaller moment. Those small moments really do mean a lot in the bigger picture of life. And in this movie, we see Chuck kind of live out a lot of these smaller moments. If it's not, dancing with someone in the middle of the street for like 5 minutes, it's, just talking to someone, talking to his grandparents. It's those smaller moments in here that really just meant a lot to me emotionally. And I feel like some people, when they go through life, they take it as this whole thing coming at you. People asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, what's your goal in the next 5 years? I get kind of overwhelmed by those type of questions. And I'm like, I'm just focusing on the next minute of my life, the next, day of my life, the whole day. I just want to cherish what I have in front of me at the moment. I don't want to look too far ahead. I do that sometimes when I'm like anticipating a movie, anticipating a certain day, but I feel like just staying in the day that we have now and cherishing what we do, what we love before the inevitable is really what this movie taught me. And I thought that was just beautiful. it just gave me such a cozy and warm feeling inside, like I was watching something that was making me feel nostalgic, but I didn't have anything to feel nostalgic for as I've never read the short story. But it's just the movie that really reminds you about life, really reminds you about the smaller things back in your life that you really experienced that meant a lot to you. It makes you remember those smaller things. So it just has that just cozy feeling in you. It leaves you, wanting to rewatch it. It leaves you just wanting to think about those smaller, beautiful moments. I'll spend a second talking about Oscar prospects because I feel like there should be some, but I do worry for this movie as it screened all the way back at TIFF late last year. So it should have maybe came out last year for the Oscars, but it's coming out for the 2026 Oscars. And I will say, I feel like it could get some nominations. I wouldn't be surprised if it snuck into Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, maybe, a supporting performance here. And if the ensemble and best casting is this year, then this ensemble deserves to be in it because this, was just a truly remarkable cast here as everyone gets their own moments and monologue to shine. There's so many big actors working in this movie. I mean, this cast is insanely large. Some of these big, actors only get a few minutes, but what Mike Flanagan has given them in these few minutes really does touch you to your soul. I mean, someone like Matthew Lillard is in the movie for, I don't know, like 3 to 5 minutes, but he has such a great scene just talking about life and, what we lived on this earth. Violet McGraw is in the movie for just a little bit. You have Chiwetel Ejiofor that really does open the movie in such a beautiful way. Karen Gillan and him. Mark Hamill also really does steal the show in the last like 30 to 45 minutes here. And also Tom Hiddleston as Chuck. He's not the only Chuck though. There's younger Chuck, kind of teenage Chuck, and then Tom Hiddleston as the older Chuck. But all the Chucks, they have a fun time here. But I wouldn't really say this is kind of his movie. It's kind of just a true ensemble. As I said, everyone has their particular moment, and there's so many great scenes by each actor here. For me, The Life of Chuck is another home run for Mike Flanagan and makes me wonder, what can't he do? It takes a little bit of time to get going and to understand what is happening, and even if you don't understand, I think that everyone can find something beautiful about this movie. It really just is a movie about enjoying life before the inevitable happens and making the most and appreciating the smaller moments that come your way. Some of my favorites in the cast are, of course, Tom Hiddleston, Mark Hamill, Benjamin Payak, and Karen Gillan. This is one that I'll be thinking about for some time. I'll be thinking about it for the months to come. It'll be in my top 10 for a decent while. Maybe by the end of the year, still be in the top 10. I cannot wait just to watch this. When I'm having a bad day later in my life, I'll just turn this on and be like, life is beautiful. The Life of Chuck gets a strong 8 out of 10 from me. Hope you all enjoyed my review. If you did, make sure you do smash that like button as it is free to do so and it helps me a lot. And do subscribe as this week we have a lot more reviews to come. I'll be reviewing Ballerina, The Phoenician Scheme, maybe the Dawn to Dawn movie, hopefully Predator, Killer of Killers. There's a lot of movies coming out, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.